Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2025 BMW X4. This is the xDrive30i. Huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Charlotte for providing this SUV for me today. Take a look at their website. That link is down in the description below. This X4 is finished off in Alpine White with an MSRP just over $58,000. Now this is powered by a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engine paired to an 8-speed automatic. It pumps out 248 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through the xDrive all-wheel drive system, propelling this 4,200-pound SUV from 0 to 60 in around 6 seconds. It has a top speed of 155 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 17.2 gallons. You'll expect to see 21 miles per gallon in the city, 28 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 112.8 inches. Its overall length is 187.6. It has a width of 75.5, a height of 63.8, and its ground clearance measures in just over 7 inches. Now, as we take a look at the exterior styling, this is a little bit more on the basic side for the X4, but we still have some nice features that are available. Up front, the entire surround for the kidney grille is finished off in brushed aluminum, along with all the accents throughout it. There is a forward-facing camera, and then the active grille shutters to open and close just provide additional cooling when needed. Now this also has LEDs for the headlight housings up front, including the high beams, DRLs, and turn signals. And then there's parking sensors down below, along with some inlets. So that way even more airflow can go through the front. More brushed accents for the lower section of that bumper there, and then a few lines coming down the hood to give it a great look. Now, like I mentioned, more of a base model, so we have that basic wheel, still with a great multi-spoke design to it. There's some plastic for the fender arches, along with the lower section of the side skirt, where there is some more brushed accents that run through that too, along with the trim accent just behind that wheel. Now there's a camera and a turn signal on the two-tone design for those mirrors, full moonroof up top, and then more brushed accents for the entire window trim. Now with the X4 and the X6, this is more of a coupe-like SUV. So it has that very steeply raked rear glass, where this also has a small spoiler up top. There's no wiper blade or anything because of the angle of that glass. LEDs in the back, there's a backup camera, all the parking sensors, and then the dual exhaust. Now, in order to gain access to the cargo space, you can use the button on the key fob or just push the top section of the BMW badge. So that way there's no exposed handle, you can just push on that. And even with that coupe-like design, you might lose a little bit of height, but the rest of the storage is still plentiful. There's a storage pocket on the left side, you get the cutout on the right, along with a 12-volt, some hooks there too, and there's even storage underneath the floor, so you can lift this up and place in some items underneath as needed. There's a cover here you can remove, and then you can also fold down the back seats to give yourself that much more interior cargo. So while you do lose maybe a little bit of height, it's still a practical vehicle if this is the look that you would like to go with. Now there's no proximity door handle on the back, so you would have to use the key fob or grab the front door handle. And for this interior, there's all the wood trim with the interior lighting. We have the tan interior, some storage in the lower section, and then really nice design for these seats. Now at 5'10", it's pretty easy to hop into the back. I have plenty of room for my legs. There's storage pockets, vents, where you'd like the air to go, along with some auxiliaries down below. And then even with the design of this coupe-like roof, I have maybe a ½ inch or so of headroom. So I can sit up, be comfortable. These seats do not recline, however. There's a bar on the side here, but this is about all that you get. So if you're any taller than me, it might be a little bit tight, but it is still doable for adults to be in the back. You have the armrest and cup holders, and you can even fold down this middle seat individually if you need to do that. And there's a small cargo window there, so that way you can see around that pillar in the back and still have plenty of visibility around that section there. Now up front, there's memory seating adjustments, power folding side mirrors, liftgate release, all the window controls. Everything's finished off in brushed aluminum, which is a nice accent. And then the front seats are automatic, minus the one manual adjustment for the leg support there. And then as we start this up, that button is located down below. This has a leather steering wheel. There's more brushed aluminum accents for the paddle shifters, controls on both sides, more trim accents, and then this is even a heated steering wheel too. Now for the digital gauge cluster for the 25-year model, we do not have the large curved screen for this particular model. So you can go through this info using the button on the top of the turn signal stalk, and all you have is everything on the right side there. So the rest of the gauge cluster is fixed, but at least you have a little bit that you can scroll through front and center. Cruise control settings are on the left side. There's volume tuning, Bluetooth, and voice commands, and then you have a shortcut to pull up your music too. Now you do get storage on this left side, all the headlight adjustments, parking lights, one air vent. And then with the infotainment system, if I push on home in the upper left, you get into this screen here where you can scroll through a few of these, just depending on what you'd like to see. And then there's shortcuts on the left side. So you can quickly get through all this information. You have driving information, vehicle status that you can monitor, and you can go through all this info using the controls down below. So there's shortcuts up top and the rotary dial underneath that. So that way you can quickly go through all of this either way. Makes it very helpful. This does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and a few other settings there, just depending on what you'd like to download and use. So fairly easy to use. There's more wood trim accents underneath that. A shortcut to the intelligent safety, so that way you can go through these standard safety features. And there's also another LCD screen where you can look at the climates. So you have all those adjustments finished off in brushed aluminum. This also has heated seats, a few other defroster controls that you can get into. There's power and volume, all of the presets and tuning. And then in the lower section, you can open this up where there's a little bit of storage along with an auxiliary and cup holders. And then putting this into reverse, you have the backup camera and you have that top-down view. So that way you can go around the entire vehicle. This also has automatic parking, basically parallel parking, and the backup assistance. So you have no shortage of visibility around the entire vehicle. You can also pull up the forward-facing camera by using the control down below, where there's traction control, parking sensors, engine start-stop, and then you can also shift using the shifter, and park is located on the back. Now there's also a few different driving modes too. So there's sport mode, comfort, there's eco, a downhill assist, and then auto hold and the e-brake behind that. You get some storage with an auxiliary in the armrest, as well as plenty in the glove box. Garage door buttons are up top, and then there's dome lights along with the adjustments for the sunshade and sunroof. And here's a look at visibility. It's pretty easy to see over both shoulders, even with that steeply raked rear glass. You really don't have any blind spots. So as we set up behind the wheel now for the BMW X4, I did get to drive the M40i a few weeks ago. So if you'd like to check out that video where you have a lot more power in this model, take a look at that separate video. With this model here, we do have less power, not quite as performance oriented, but we do have the different driving modes, which is really nice to see. So let's pop it into the sport mode with the manual settings here, and from second gear, it's still got a good bit of power to it. So it's still impressive to see. It gives you those sporty aspects for not being the performance oriented level. So if you're not interested in power, this is going to be a great option to go with. Under $60,000, you can still get a very nice vehicle that has an adequate amount of power to it. So with the X4, as you've already seen, this is more of that coupe-like design. I know a lot of people like that design. If that's not for you, you can go with the X3 or the X5, which is the similar-ish competitors to the X4 and the X6 here, just depending on the design that you like, the space that you need, and of course the power that you are looking to get. But I've been able to drive a lot of BMWs. I own an X5 myself, so I have a lot of seat time, of course, behind the wheel of that. And this ride's very similar. We don't have anything for the suspension for this particular model. So it is a standard suspension, but it still drives nice. And this is going to give you a luxury feel and what you're looking for, especially from a BMW. So you have the refinements, you have a very comfortable vehicle that you can drive every day too. And it's a little bit on that smaller size too. So if you're not looking for a big vehicle and you like that design, this is a perfect option to go with. This can also tow when properly equipped. You're looking right around 4,400 pounds or so. Probably not a vehicle that someone is buying to use for that, but you could hook up a bike rack or a small trailer or something like that if you needed to, just making it a little bit more versatile since this is an SUV. But it's very comfortable to drive. Seats are in a good spot too, and it's very nice. You have a good bit of space for your backseat passengers too, so there's kind of a trade-off between the exterior design and the backseat space, but it's not all that bad for the overall shape that you get. And we're in sport mode from third gear. Here we go. And just a mild acceleration, we can get back up to speed there. This is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the X4. Now for the 25-year model, if you're unfamiliar with BMW, a lot of their models have gone to the large curved screen. We still have the dual setup for the X4 here, so I'm not sure if maybe there'll be a change for the 26-year model or not, but a lot of people do like this split design. So if you are a fan of that, you can still get it for the X4. Now, as far as maneuverability goes, not too narrow of a road, but it's very easy to maneuver in parking lot situations, what I just did, things like that. So if you're not looking for a big vehicle, this can definitely help with maneuvering with a small car. But it's a great vehicle to be behind the wheel of. Seating position is nice. You have a good outlook of the hood here. It is also height adjustable, so you can make those adjustments as needed. But very comfortable. We're on not the most comfortable road, but it does look like there is a difference in the suspension. I know I mentioned that earlier. It doesn't have the adaptive or the height adjustments, but it looks like it does have a little bit of a difference with the suspension settings that you can go through, at least with the two there. So you can get a little bit more comfortable depending on the road that you are on and just the drive that you're looking to get. But it's pretty sporty too, for not being the 40i. And so again, if power's not something on your checklist, you can get a really nice and sporty feel even with the 30i here. And you have a lot of nice materials too, so you don't have to have this fully spec'd out to get some nice options and features to make this a great daily driver. But that is going to wrap it up for the 2025 BMW X4. Once again, a huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Charlotte for providing this for me today. Take a look at the website, link down below. Give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. And I will see you all in the next video.